a single rack of Nvidia's upcoming 2027 Rubin Ultra AI architecture demands up to 8 megawatts of power. To put that in perspective, current data center clusters tap out at 3 to 4 megawatts. This flowchart maps out exactly why our current infrastructure fails to meet that demand. Power moves from the grid to the processor by forcing its way through 5 to 6 separate alternating and direct current conversion stages. Each of these conversion stops acts as a toll booth, bleeding energy. By the time electricity reaches the compute rack, the voltage drops to 54 volts, capping the final power output well below what Rubin Ultra requires to function. The 2027 solution skips the middleman. We cut the conversion stages in half, taking power from the medium voltage grid directly to 800 volts DC and distributing it straight to the rack. This architecture shift rewrites the data center power layer to keep AI scaling functional. Most of the market is trying to play this transition by piling into the established semiconductor companies listed on NVIDIA's official partner page. But NVIDIA deliberately published a broad partner list of 29 different suppliers. They want those companies aggressively undercutting each other to compress hardware prices. While everyone fights over those high-visibility semiconductor contracts, the official engineering reference designs mandate entirely new categories of infrastructure components that remain largely unmapped by the market. This creates a rigid choice for your capital. You can accept razor-thin margins for the safety of a highly visible contract, or you can accept significant deployment delays for massive asymmetrical upside. To navigate this, we have to strip away the AI hype and look strictly at the engineering reality. We are going to evaluate 4 specific nodes in this architecture based on their realistic timelines, pricing power, and actual risk. This comparison matrix maps the opportunity, starting with the known quantities, the semiconductor nodes. First up is gallium nitride, or GaN, DC-DC Conversion. Its technical function is simple. It acts as the sole remaining semiconductor step-down inside the rack, taking that 800-volt feed directly down to the processor level. The issue here is timing. Significant revenue relies almost entirely on the Kyber system ramp in 2027. You are buying a long-term option and enduring minimal short-term returns. The second semiconductor node is DrMOS, positioned at the very end of the line to deliver power directly to the GPU cores. Unlike GaN, DrMOS suppliers currently hold significant market share. They offer immediate exposure to existing AI server revenue. But that revenue is precarious. Every new GPU generation triggers a completely new nomination cycle. Inclusion on the last chip guarantees absolutely nothing for the next one. Because both GaN and DrMOS sit squarely on NVIDIA's crowded partner list, their pricing power is structurally low. Retail and institutional investors alike easily recognize these names. The engineering path to deployment is clear, but the financial returns are deliberately capped by the extreme commoditization of the parts themselves. Targeting the semiconductor nodes forces you to surrender margin and pricing leverage in exchange for the comfort of short-term market visibility. Moving off the partner list, we find the infrastructure nodes. The third component is solid-state circuit breakers, located throughout the 800-volt distribution network. AI workloads create massive power swings, up to 50% of peak load within fractions of a second. These breakers are mandatory to instantly isolate those surges and protect the grid. Names these breakers as a required system component in their official reference design, the few companies manufacturing them hold near monopoly pricing leverage. However, this space currently has no established regulatory certification framework. Capital deployed here risks getting trapped in regulatory purgatory for years while standards are written. The fourth and final node is on-site modular power generation. The GE Vernova architecture integrates local generation as a structural requirement to handle gigawatt-scale data center demands. Building physical multi-fuel generators completely sidesteps the semiconductor price wars, securing robust pricing power. The catch is the indirect connection to the architecture. Success here relies on broader utility grids failing to meet capacity, rather than guaranteed inclusion inside every NVIDIA rack. Neither of these heavy infrastructure components appear anywhere on the hyped vendor lists. They offer immense asymmetrical upside, but demand a high tolerance for severe delays stemming from slow-moving regulatory bodies and physical construction hurdles. Before you allocate a single dollar, you need a reality check on the industry. Data center operators are conservative about changing their power infrastructure. Because of that ingrained friction, NVIDIA's 2027 target for a full 800-volt deployment must be treated as a best-case scenario, absolutely not a guaranteed floor. This quadrant chart maps how your risk profile aligns with the reality of the 800-volt shift, tracking pricing power against timeline realism. The semiconductor nodes, GaN and DrMOS, sit in the quadrant offering low pricing power, but safe, immediate timelines. If you cannot tolerate regulatory limbo and are willing to actively trade your positions through volatile generational churn, your capital belongs here. The infrastructure nodes, circuit breakers and power generation, sit opposite, representing high pricing power choked by extreme timeline friction. This quadrant is strictly for long-term value architects operating on a 3 to 5 year horizon who demand asymmetric returns. Choosing this upside means willingly accepting the uncertified market risks and the slow grind of standard setting. Technical engineering white papers contain the actual blueprint for the 800V opportunity, revealing details absent from marketing partner lists. Choose your timeline, accept the strict trade-offs of your chosen node, and build your thesis entirely on physical infrastructure realities rather than AI hype.